AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Our host brings you the leading minds in AI, sharing their story, their success, and their advice. Focusing on fast-tracking you to the top, AI in Action cuts through the hype to help you kickstart your data science career. To listen to the latest AI in Action podcast, head over to www.alldus.com/podcast or subscribe via iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Podcasts.
You're listening to AI in Action. I'm your host, JP Valentine. Our guest today is Chris Norris. Chris is the CTO at Wheel. Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me on, John.
It's our pleasure. So Chris, let's start with yourself. Can you give us a brief overview of your background, where you first got started and interested in technology, and walk us through your career path, taking us up to your most recent role here as the CTO of Wheel?
I grew up in England. I've been a nerd at heart from an early age. I was lucky enough to grow up at the time when affordable computing at home was a reality. And so I think I taught myself to code at 8 years old, just fell in love with the ability to build and innovate. And that's kind of that passion has driven me through the tech industry for a couple of decades now. I've worked across many different products, everything from embedded operating systems to consumer mobile apps. And while I have worked for large enterprises, I'm most passionate about the startup world. I've been part of 4 in a row now that I've helped get to an exit. The primary reason for me loving that world is your ability to kind of make an impact and feel the impact of what you're doing, but also I usually love to be at the forefront of something innovative or a new wave of how technology is being used.
Thank you, Chris. So talk to us then about what drew you to Wheel. You're obviously with the business now, coming up on 1 year. Tell us about Wheel, who they are, what they do, what the mission is, and then talk to us about your role.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a funny start to that. For the longest time in my career, I actively avoided healthcare verticals. And that was based on what I've come to find out was a horrible bias or assumption that everything in healthcare is slow moving, no innovation, it's all bureaucracy. But when Michelle, the CEO of Wheel, reached out, I thought, okay, cool, I'll go, local Austin company, go hear what they're doing. And through those conversations, it really clicked with me that, holy cow, this is what people are going to expect healthcare to be in the next 5 to 10 years. And I often draw the analogy with banking. My bank is always sending me surveys saying, how can we make our branches better? And I always want to write back saying, I don't want to go to your branches. Help me bank at my convenience, on my terms, on my devices. And I am convinced or became convinced that's what people are going to expect from healthcare. They don't want to do this, phone up, make an appointment, wait in those 2 stupid waiting rooms they make you wait in the US, and you come out with an expensive bill and you don't know, why you have that bill and why it's so much. And so I think this field of virtual care, as we call it, is a real opportunity to deliver on what healthcare should be.
That's a nice setup for telling us now about how Wheel are going to solve those problems. So please do.
Yeah. So a little bit. I should probably define virtual care first, because it's not terribly commonly used in day-to-day conversations. You can just think of virtual care as anywhere where technology is helping people, both patients and clinicians, manage health. A lot of people immediately make the step to, he means like video call with my doctor. And that's true. That is part of virtual care, but it's one small segment. And I'll give you an example at the other end of the spectrum, which is something called remote patient monitoring, where if you're a diabetic, you often wear a continuous glucose monitor. A virtual care system can be ingesting that data in real time, looking for trends or anomalies, alerting your clinician so that they can come and take a look, maybe order diagnostics or adjust your medication, possibly without you even knowing that's happening. And so obviously that's just game changing for quality of life for that person, in that you don't need to wait till you feel ill and make an appointment and go to a doctor's office. And so just painting a super wide picture of what virtual care means. And the best analogy for what Wheel does in that world is, for this audience, is we are the operating system for virtual care. We do all the heavy lifting of all the fundamental pieces of being able to bring clinicians and companies together to deliver high quality virtual care on demand. And we have the full stack in the broadest sense of the word. We have the technology, we have the clinical workforce, we have the operational expertise, and threaded through all that is the regulatory and compliance expertise needed to deliver virtual care. If you'll give me 5 more seconds, I'll paint a picture, because that's kind of a very broad description, and people may be struggling to grasp what I mean. But one example is, let's say you want to launch a virtual care business, a telehealth business. You've immediately got the problem. Okay, sounds good. Have this great innovative idea, but how do I find clinicians that want to work for me? Because they're all remote work, going to be all remote workers for you, effectively. How do I interview them to know they're any good? How do I credential them, make sure they're legitimate? How do I train them? How do I pay them? How do I audit them to know that they're actually providing quality care? And last but not least, how do I stay compliant with the telehealth regulations across all 50 states in the US? And that's just the workforce piece of delivering virtual care. And Wheel abstracts that all away, makes it as simple and turnkey as possible.
And thank you for that. That was a really good way to summarize the Wheel as a business and the impact it can have, given the investment in telehealth and healthcare is exploded. Many organizations will need to get in, and Wheel are offering them that gateway of ease of access. So focusing now, Chris, on your role as CTO, obviously it's quite a broad role, and you cover not just data science, data engineering, but all the other aspects of building the tech function. Can you walk us through what the first year has been like, what the journey has been from when you started, and give us some insight into what's happening behind the scenes with data, specifically to get Wheel up and running?
Yeah, great question. So I joined March of 2020, possibly, the explosion of COVID. And I think while I was, a believer coming in that this is the way the health industry is going, more digital health adoption, virtual care adoption, obviously that really accelerated things. And so we pivoted quickly to kind of more of the COVID-19 use cases, obviously for screening, diagnostics, and tests, helping people get and companies get access to COVID-19 resources. But at the end of the day, it hasn't actually changed our plan. Like we've always believed that this is the way to go, and this is the coming wave of need. And so we've been steadily moving forward on working with tens or hundreds of companies on bringing virtual care experiences online. One thing I did very early on, though, is we are, as far as kind of the technology vision and the product vision is, we are passionate as a company about not just replicating the frankly broken US healthcare system, and bringing that online. We're not about, how do we recreate a doctor's office visit? How do we make insurance billing more streamlined? It's really about how can we enable new healthcare modalities that make clinicians' lives easier, safer, make it more ubiquitous and inexpensive for patients to get access to virtual care. And so establishing that we're not just about taking the existing, mirroring the existing healthcare system with technology. I started with one developer when I joined. He had done an amazing job with the technology at Wheel, but to execute on a vision, we clearly need a lot more people than that. And so a big part of my background is helping fast growth startups scale up. Super passionate about the people aspects of my management job, and I think I have a lot of relevant experience with how do you maintain a healthy culture while scaling rapidly, and I'm very passionate about kind of making sure, trying to enable my team to be doing their best work every day. That's kind of been year one, getting the team foundation in place and the technology vision in place, and now we're really running hard at building that operating system.
So to jump in here on the team, can you give us, can you help us visualize the current makeup of the team, how you've distributed headcount, and some of the interesting projects that you're currently working? So what does it look like from the inside to be part of this tech team?
Yeah, great question. So some of this may be building an engineering team 101 for a startup, but a lot of what we're doing when we're kind of at the forefront of really, to some degree, defining what virtual care is and the best ways to deliver on these experiences, we need to build, iterate, and learn very quickly. And we need, to a large degree, kind of full stack engineers that can flex into areas as needed as we're having that journey of building and discovering what resonates with the market and what customers need. I would say the major non-negotiable for a kind of an engineering team at a healthcare startup is privacy and security. So making sure we have our information security team and practices in good place, in good health, so that we can make sure we're doing the right thing for protecting patients' privacy and data. As we're actually in that phase, we've grown so much in this last year. Our company has scaled. I think let's see, we've 500% in the last year. Now we're getting to the realm where we start to need specialists. So, segueing into some of the data question you have, I am excited about the ability to use data in healthcare setting in ways that it isn't today. There's a great stat I love quoting that Stanford Medicine did a survey of clinicians, and those 92% of those clinicians said that they felt that their electronic health record systems played little to no role in clinical decision making. And so what that means in the US is, like, you're sitting in your doctor's office, they're constantly typing on their computer. All that data they're collecting is not about making your health better or helping them make better decisions. And that to me is kind of criminal. I think that's kind of the verge we're on, where we can use this data to not only help individuals manage their health, look for trends, anomalies, provide coaching, but also more broadly is like, how do you look for trends in health across populations? How do you can you run clinical studies to find which drugs are most effective? And I think that's the allure of, if we're doing healthcare right with technology, that's one of the things I'm pretty excited about.
So staying on this point, that before we move on to what the future looks like, you're a good example of somebody who has recently made the switch into healthcare and views it positively, and your insight now can help dispel some of the myth that was associated with healthcare, being that it was slow and innovation wasn't quite there as you would see with other firms. From the inside now that you've seen just how exciting and how innovative it is as a space, when you're building a team and you're speaking to candidates who might have that same views, what message do you give to them, and what can we tell people listening here to help them realize just how exciting health tech has now become?
That's a great question. I think the first and foremost thing is I really feel this virtual care field is uncharted, and we really are helping define kind of what best in class looks like. There are no incumbents that we're kind of chasing catch up to and having to do feature parity. We really are listening very strongly to the market and the clients and building to the needs of today and the future, not the past. So I think that's number one. And as such, a lot of our engineering work is actually greenfield. It's like infrastructure and up. So that's kind of exciting thing number one. And I think the other thing that's been fascinating for me is the breadth of companies that we work with, everything from established enterprises to small startups, across the whole gamut of health possibilities: primary care, women's health, LGBTQIA plus health, pediatrics, substance abuse, behavioral health we're just launching. And the fascinating thing to me is a lot of those clients, even the enterprises, are not healthcare companies. They are other companies realizing the value of offering virtual care either to their customers or their employees, and they want to be first and foremost kind of first to market, first to innovate, because they see that this wave is coming. And I jokingly say, this is the difference between, this is the era of watching movies at home. You want to be a Netflix, not a Blockbuster. And we're talking to the Netflixes of the virtual care world who realize this. And the reason I say that is that kind of divorces you from, we're not replicating the current healthcare. We're actually thinking about, okay, what is the best thing for clinicians here? What is the best thing for patients? And we build that. We don't build, well, this is what hospital system X has done for 20 years, and so we need to replicate that. So I think, all that together to me is, hopefully illustrates the what it means, how exciting it is to be in this area.
Chris, so now looking ahead, you're approaching your 1-year anniversary at Wheel. What an interesting year to make the switch into healthcare, given the disruptions COVID has faced. But can you give us a quick synopsis of what you've taken from your first year? And adding on to that, looking ahead, what are you most excited about for yourself, your data team at Wheel over the next 12 to 18 months?
Yeah, kind of what I've taken away, kind of having been on the inside for a while, is that I really feel I've been started using this, phrase internally in the company. I really feel this is our game to lose. Like we're not up against kind of strong competitors. This is an exciting, fast-moving field, and we have a great team that I think can deliver on that. So that's I'm as excited as I was joining now a year later that, man, we can do this. And we can make a big difference in the healthcare system and the world, not just kind of make Wheel successful. So I think that's number one. Number two, the primary thing I look for joining any job is the people and the culture. You spend a lot of your life at work, and it's way more pleasant if you're in an environment where everyone, there's this strong vibe of we're in this together. It's not about titles or orgs. It's about making the business successful and our clients successful, and that strong culture has continued in the last year. As far as the kind of the product and the technology is concerned, we're launching our virtual care platform. Wheel's initial product was around helping our clients get access to a clinical workforce on demand. I always jokingly call it Uber for clinicians. Sales hates it when I say that because it invokes an image of a random dude in a Prius showing up to do your colonoscopy, but it's really not. Well-trained, credentialed, licensed clinicians coming to deliver quality healthcare. And what we've heard from that is almost all the companies have struggled to build a platform or buy a platform that allows them to abstract away the difficulties of a healthcare business and focus on innovating for the patients. And so, we heard that enough times, and enough people liked working with Wheel and kept asking us, are you going to build a platform? Are you going to build a platform that we can easily see a path to success there? And so again, we're kind of reimagining healthcare technology. We want amazing user experiences for the patients and clinicians. We want it to be as turnkey as possible. Launch your business in a couple of weeks. We want it to be kind of highly configurable and modular, ability to meet staffing demand fluctuations, and be that AWS or operating system of virtual care. And every day I'm on client calls where they're saying, "Oh, we need this," and we're like, "We can do that for you." I had one kind of visceral example of this is we had one client come to us 6 months ago, and we didn't have the platform, or it was just a glimmer in our eyes, and they came back 6 months later and said, "Yep, we found the 5 companies who we need to integrate to get the solution we want." And that is a terrible situation. We are now that end-to-end solution. You can get all the staffing, legal, medical, tech requirements kind of in a box, easy to launch, and you can focus on innovating on the vertical or the audience of patients that you need to for your business.
So Chris, final question from me. Exciting growth ahead. You recently have been recognized by Built In Austin as one of the best places to work. Can you talk to us about the growth in store for the data team, what it's like to work there at Wheel, and the types of people that you'll be looking for in 2021?
Yeah, thank you first and foremost. It's really exciting to be on that list. A little bit unexpected, but I think it does reflect the culture and the team we've built. A lot of growth planned. We are planning to grow 3 times faster than we did in 2020, in 2021. So looking for a lot of employees across all the functions. I would say the one thing I feel good about, like I've been in this business a long time. I've enjoyed every job I've had and worked with great people, but I think this is the first job I've had where I feel like my experience and skills and energy is being put into something that truly might make a difference in the world. And I don't mean that to sound like highfalutin, but like, being able to change a broken healthcare system and help people get access to healthcare more easily is a really a big deal. And I think it does make a difference how you come to work energized every day. So, that's my strong feeling about Wheel.
What a great way to finish an interview. Chris, we really appreciate you coming on and talking to us about Wheel. Health tech is by far and away the most exciting place for anyone who's interested in fast-paced growth and innovation in and around data. And not just data science. There's a whole lot happening across engineering, visualization, product, and it's just a good space to be in where you can get a lot of reward from your work. So it sounds like Wheel are going to be pivotal in this space for many years to come. So we wish you guys all the best.
Thanks very much, John. You've made this a pleasure. Happy to help out again in the future if I can.
AI in Action is brought to you by Alldus International, covering your business's staffing, consulting, and networking needs. Alldus offer an exec search program. Alldus can help you discover how data science and AI can transform your company. With our unrivaled network of C-suite executives and senior AI professionals, we offer retained search services across the US and Europe. Get the Alldus advantage. Become a member of the Alldus community and enjoy some of the following: AI meetups. Once a month, our community gathers to listen to some of the leading experts in the world of data science and AI. Our speakers come from all over the world, including Dublin, Boston, and Frankfurt. We also have our AI mentors. Our experts will provide mentoring to Alldus members. And don't forget our AI in Action podcast. Each week we have guests from all over the world talking us through their education, career, and more. Become an Alldus member and get the Alldus advantage. For more information and to sign up for our newsletter, log on to www.alldus.com. That's www.alldus.com. Alldus International, empowering through AI.